What's going on, Lions fans? Steve here, Detroit Den 313. As you can see, flying solo today. Our guy Will, he's actually traveling to Atlanta right now. I think he's joining a Falcons broadcast or a Falcons podcast. I don't know. We'll have to get him on later and see what the deal is. But no, I think he's on a family little trip. So he'll be with me tonight. So you guys are going to get a 2-episode day here. So while he's traveling, while he's working and doing his thing, maybe he's resting right now. I don't know. But I'm going to knock out a mock draft for you guys. All right. We've been talking about it for a while. Haven't had a chance. There's been so much going on in the NFL with trade rumors and people wanting released and who the Detroit Lions could trade for. Like, we've been hammering it all. So I finally got a little downtime to knock out a mock draft for you guys. Listen, before I get into this, when I do mock drafts, I don't do trades. All right. I try to keep it as realistic as possible. I'm not going to trade a 7th round pick to move up 12 spots in the NFL draft in the first round. I don't think that's very realistic. So I don't do trades in my drafts. But I'm going to say this. The Detroit Lions have 7 picks in this upcoming draft next month at the end of April. I personally don't believe Brad Holmes is going to draft 7 players. All right. Now, what that's going to look like, I don't know. If he leaves this draft with 5 people, it moves up in a couple rounds here and there, wherever that is. I don't know. I don't know if it'll be moving up in the first round, the second round, the third round. I don't know. But I don't see him drafting 7 players and adding 7 players on this team for training camp. I believe this is just an idea, just a guess from me. I'm just a dude in the office. I'm just speculating, but I think he's going to maneuver this draft and he's going to leave here with 5 players. Which round he moves up in, don't know. But I think if we get 4 really, really good starters and one guy who's a project, I might be okay with that. And you guys know I don't really care for projects in this draft. I think we're a team with the Super Bowl window that's open and ready to go. But if he moves up and maneuvers this draft the right way and gets me 4 quality starters / role players that can get on the football field and have some meaningful reps, and then you draft another guy with that 5th pick and you want to label him as a project, I'm okay with that. So let me know how you guys feel in the comments if that's something you're cool with. But also, if you've been watching this show long enough, if you've been watching me and Will do our thing for the last couple of years, you know that we're diehards, man. We're football junkies. We're Detroit Lions junkies. Like, it means a little bit more to us, all right? So I know when I'm hearing some people say, there's always next year, or, I could focus on the Tigers or the Red Wings or the Pistons and they'll carry me over. That's a little bit true for me and Will. The other sports do kind of keep my attention, but at the back of my head, I'm thinking, how many more days till kickoff? How many more days till I can be at a tailgate? How many more days till I can be at Ford Field watching some real football? We're junkies, man. So if that's what you're about and you stuck around this long, 3 minutes into this episode, hit that subscribe button if you're new to finding us. So we'd love to have you as a subscriber. We try to engage, but let's get this thing going, man. You guys know my deal. You know my deal when it comes to these Detroit Lions. Trench warfare this year. All right. I'm bolstering up this Detroit Lions defense. Defense. Maybe a little offense. Maybe. We'll see. You guys have to stick around. But I don't want to say that I'm copying the Philadelphia Eagles or their recipe. I had this in my head, and if you guys will vouch for me, I think we're established enough where the trenches are where you win games, okay? And what the Philadelphia Eagles did to the Kansas City Chiefs just kind of validated that, and I hate it that it was the Philadelphia Eagles. I absolutely hate that team, hate that fan base, hate that city, hate that state, don't care anything about the Philadelphia Eagles. But I have to give them some respect. What they did to Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl is what I've been preaching and what I've been wanting the Detroit Lions to do for the last 2-3 seasons. Dominate the trenches. So that's what we're going to do in this draft. So without further ado, at pick 28, round 1, Mike Green, Marshall. Okay, I do these mock drafts. I do them on Pro Football Network. They have a mock draft simulator. You guys can get in there, pick how many rounds you want to do, how fast you want to go. There's some trades. I just hit reject all on all those. But Mike Green fell to me at pick 28. And I had some decisions when I sat there and I was looking through who was available. There was some defensive tackles that I like. There's some edge guys that I like, but I can't ignore Mike Green in his production at Marshall. I think he's the best pass rusher, the best pure pass rusher in this draft, I think, is Mike Green. And I think there's a couple of other guys who are really, really, really good, but I put Mike Green at the top of that category. So he went to the combine. He had an okay day. I mean, he didn't do any of the workouts, but his measurables is what I was looking at. I knew he wasn't going to be running the 40. 6'3", 250. His only knock, short arms. 2 inches. 2 inches of short arms. But I think he makes up for that with his speed and his agility and his athleticism. This kid's a little bit bendy. when he was at the senior day, he kind of went viral for that. He absolutely pancaked an offensive lineman. I can't remember what that kid's name was, but he blew him up. So he's got some power too. And when I saw that clip, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little pissed because I was very high on Mike Green before that clip, and I think that kind of bolted him into another category where maybe he was in the first round. Maybe some more people are talking about him because they didn't know what kind of power he had. So if he's available at pick 28, and that's another thing, guys, like someone has to fall in this draft. There's so many wide receivers. There's only so many quarterbacks. There's only so many running backs. Some of these defensive guys will fall right into our laps. If Mike Green's one of them, he's my sprint to the podium guy. All right. He's the guy that when it's a Detroit Lions pick, Mike Green's available. If I'm Brad Holmes, I'm on the phone with the guy at the draft representing the Detroit Lions. Hey, turn in this card. Let's go, Mike Green. Let's get a little slap on the butt from the NFL again for like what we did with Aiden Hutchinson, and we turned our pick in too fast. Mike Green is my guy this year that I'm getting to that podium as absolutely fast as possible. Put him on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. Excuse me. Me and Will did a show yesterday where we were talking about Trey Hendrickson and Joey Bosa and Myles Garrett, and all those guys are fantastic players in the NFL. The Detroit Lions, it's sexy to think about another guy other than Aiden Hutchinson going out and getting 15 to 20 sacks. I don't think that's what we need. If it happens, fantastic. We know what Hutch is going to do. He's going to flirt with 20. He's going to be somewhere in that neighborhood, play 17 games. Aiden Hutchinson's going to be knocking on the door of 20 sacks throughout this season. When we get a Lee McNeil back, I know he's not playing a full season, but he's probably the second best pass rusher on this team, obviously. And then if you add a Mike Green, I don't need him to go out and get 17 sacks. I don't need him to be Aiden Hutchinson. I need him to just be a problem on that other side of the defensive line that an offense has to account for. If we can rush 4 versus their 5 and win a one-on-one matchup somewhere, now 5-on-4, you have the numbers. You can double team someone. It's probably going to be DJ Reader. He's the biggest guy out there. So if I got Hutch on an island with a one-on-one, if I got a Lee McNeil on a one-on-one and Mike Green while DJ Reader's getting double team, I'm counting and betting money that one of those 3 guys, Hutch, McNeil, or Mike Green, is going to win a one-on-one and get after that quarterback. I just don't think that you can block either one of those 3 guys one-on-one and be successful as an offense. But that's what I like, man. I like, and that's why I like it in round 1. But like I said, there's a ton of dudes in this draft where if Mike Green goes at pick 21 ahead of us and there's 5-6 other guys on the board, I'm going to have like 10 seconds where I'm a little disappointed, but I know we're still going to get a dog. So I'm perfectly fine if it's another player. So let me know who you guys like in round 1. There's lots of names out there, but that's just who I'm leaning right now. And he fell to me in my draft. So get up to that podium, go get your man. Next, pick 60. All right. I think that beefing up this D-line with TJ Sanders would be another hell of a problem. Like, this dude's an absolute freak, okay? I think in most drafts, maybe not 2025, but in most drafts, I think TJ Sanders would be a first-round pick. He's got the size. What's he listed at? He's listed at 6'4". I'll round it up, call it 300. Officially, he's at 297 from the combine. 33 and 1/8 inches arms, if I said that right. Probably not. Metric system's not really my thing. Another guy that didn't do the 40-yard dash at the combine, that's fine. 31.5-inch vertical jump, 9 foot and 4-inch broad jump. I think that this dude is an absolute physical freak. And when you go to NFL.com and you're doing some combine research, it'll give these prospects a grade. TJ Sanders got a grade of 6.27 with a note of will eventually be an average starter. I think he'll be an above average starter. I don't think he'll ever be elite or a Aaron Donald type, but don't need him to be. All right. I think if you draft him at pick 60, he immediately becomes your starting defensive tackle next to DJ Reader while Lee McNeil finishes his rehab with that ACL injury. We're looking for matchup problems. That's what I'm looking for anyway in my drafts. I'm looking for matchup problems. And again, if we are rushing 4 successfully against 5, that's going to be my motto the rest of the season. Winning one-on-ones. I think TJ Sanders wins his one-on-ones more times than not. 6'4", 300 pounds, athletic kid, absolute freak. And again, he's another one where I sat at the draft board and I was kind of contemplating, who do I take here? Like, there's some guys that I had to leave off the board. There's some guys where I'm saying, man, if he's available at my next pick, I think I'm getting some steals in pick 2 and pick 3. So this is a tough draft. This is a tough draft because there's some people that you're going to have to pass on. If Brad Holmes hits home runs in this draft like he did a couple years ago when we got Brian Branch, Sam Laporta in the second round, those were first-round guys that we got in the second round. I think TJ Sanders fits that same exact category where if this wasn't a defensive draft where there's so many pass rushers, if this were next year's draft or last year's, I think TJ Sanders would have been a first-round pick. He's just kind of stuck with, damn, this 2025 class is absolutely loaded, and he's just one of those guys that gets pushed down the board just because it's such a deep draft. But if he's the pick at pick 60, I'm absolutely ecstatic. I just got a Mike Green and a TJ Sanders. Those are two defensive starters day one. Day one, I've already gotten two defensive starters in this draft, and I haven't even touched free agency. I'm kind of ignoring that, pretending everyone's just gone. I'm pretending in this draft that I'm not getting Carlton Davis, and I'm going to have Amik Robertson as my outside corner with Terrion Arnold at the other side. We'll have to figure out something for some nickel stuff. I'm assuming that Zeitler's gone, and we have to throw in Mahogany. So I kind of went into this draft. I should have said this at the beginning with the mindset that all of the big free agencies for the Lions, Davis, Zeitler, maybe Timothy Patrick are all gone, and I have to replace them. So if I just got two defensive starters right there, we're good. Next, pick 101, free pick from Aaron Glenn. Thank you. Good luck out there in New York. Not too much luck. Don't run into the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl. That'd be a hell of a story. But I think this is the one guy that me and Will agree on. He's an absolute problem, and it's Jordan Burch out of the University of Oregon. This kid is an absolute problem. Looking at his combine stuff, I'll give you guys the measurables. 6'4", 280 pounds, officially 279. I rounded up. I know some of you guys like to be exact with the numbers. Arm length, 33 inches even, so I don't have to worry about the metric system there. That's good news for me. 40-yard dash time, 4.67, and this is the most important thing. He's the first guy that I've drafted that was that ran the 40, a 1.66 10-yard split. Okay, that's pretty good for a kid who's 6'4", 280. It's not bad. It's not the most overwhelming number, but the 10-yard split measures exactly what you think. It's how fast a defense or an offensive lineman gets down the field in 10 seconds. 1.66, pretty damn good. He's in the neighborhood. I believe Aiden Hutchinson was a 1.61, so it kind of shows you how explosive Hutchinson is. Jordan Burch, obviously not as explosive, but 1.66 is still pretty damn good. I mean, it's hard to be Aiden Hutchinson, though. So 6'4", 279. His weight is perfect. I think he's the type of guy who can play defensive end or a defensive tackle. Now, he's a little light, but I know all these guys at the combine, they chop their weight down. They want to run the fastest 40. You do that by cutting some pounds and being a little leaner and faster. So if he's 280, if he goes up to 290, I think he's more than capable of playing some defensive tackle, but he's listed as an edge. So I think he's versatile. That's what Brad Holmes wants. He wants some guys who are versatile, have some position versatility, play defensive end, defensive tackle. I think guys like Levi Onwuzurike and Josh Paschal are probably in a little bit of trouble because if we draft this kid, he's taking their job. I think he's young. He's obviously younger, big, physical, athletic. Go watch his UCLA tape. I'll tell you guys that. When I'm studying tape, and by no means has anyone sat me down and showed me exactly what to look for with all that. Like I'm not a scout or anything, but what I'm looking for is, does he disrupt games? If you go watch that UCLA game, he was a problem for UCLA and what they were trying to do. They were trying to use a lot of speed, and he was having none of it. So pick 101, that's who I'm rocking with right there, Jordan Burch. So in my first three picks, I've gotten you a Mike Green, starting defensive end. I've gotten you TJ Sanders, a starting defensive tackle. And then I've gotten you Jordan Burch, who I think you put on that second wave of pass rushers. That's what I've been preaching all offseason, waves of pass rushers. I want these guys coming in, rested legs, air in their lungs, not gasping, not tired. I get Jordan Burch in round 3, my second wave of defensive linemen that's coming into this game. Good luck to you, whoever your offense is, because I'm just going to be trotting out defensive linemen all day to just absolutely wreck your offense, and I want to make them not want to play football anymore. But pick 133, this is where it gets a little interesting. I love this player. I don't love some of his combine numbers, but I'll take tape over combine any day, and that's the wide receiver, Pat Bryant out of the University of Illinois. Again, like I just said, I'm kind of operating under the fact that maybe we go into free agency and it's worst case scenario. Maybe Tim Patrick signs somewhere else, gets a bigger deal or a longer deal, whatever it is. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the future holds, but Pat Bryant, 6'2", 204 pounds out of the University of Illinois. Here's what I don't love about his combine. All right. I don't love his 40 time, 4.61. I don't love that. But what did I just say? I'm not gonna recant my statement about how important the 10-yard split is. 1.56 10-yard split for Pat Bryant. So if you're trying to jam him, he's a big physical receiver. All right. He's not just going to let you jam him off the line and not get into his route. And if you miss, if you don't get some hands on him, 1.5 seconds getting up the field is pretty damn fast for a guy his size. So if he can get some separation and if he can take a Tim Patrick type role, listen, if we're drafting an offensive guy in the hundreds, I know we've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, but most of the times those guys are just solid role players. So if he's coming in and taking Tim Patrick's job, I don't need a 1,000-yard receiver. I don't need 15 plus touchdowns a year. I don't need over 100 catches. I just need him to come in, take the role of Tim Patrick, be productive in his way. All right. If he does more, that's fantastic. That's absolutely great. So my bare minimum is just replace Tim Patrick if we don't happen to re-sign him. So I like Pat Bryant to do that. I think he'd be a damn good pick for the Lions, kind of change up the offense a little bit, get a little bit younger. I know we don't have an old offense, but just bring in some fresh faces and some young blood. Pick 198. Listen, I might butcher this name, but give me a second. Let me practice it in my head. Oluwafemi Oladejo. I think I got that right. Out of the University of UCLA. Don't make me say acronyms. UCLA. If you can see the picture, I picked that picture for a reason because he's an absolute athletic freak, man. That's what we are wanting in this draft is athletic freaks who cause problems. 6'3", 260, 259 officially, but I round up. His prospect grade, 6.24 with the note of will eventually be an average starter. That's all I need him to be. That's all I need him to be. At this point, with my draft, what I've gotten, 3 potential starters on the defense with the Pat Bryant on offense to change things up. I can use a project player here in Oluwafemi. If he comes in and he just takes a little bit of time to adapt and a little bit of time to get used to how to be an NFL player, produce later on in a year or two to kind of come in and get some reps, put some pads on at least, not like a Giovanni Manu or a Hendon Hooker that I'm never going to see. I think I can at least get this kid on a football field to learn trial by fire. Get in there, get your ass beat a little bit. That might be what it takes. But I think his production could be very, very through the roof in a couple years. I don't think right off the rip he's going to be like the James Houstons who comes in and he's a flash in the pan. I think he could have a sustained career here with Detroit, but he's never going to be like a 10-sack guy. I'm willing to take a gamble on someone like that in the later rounds at pick 198 if I have this draft with 3 starters on defense potentially and a Pat Bryant, a guy I can get on the football field as my wide receiver 3 or 4. It doesn't matter to me. Pick 230, I kind of gambled here. All right, I kind of gambled a little bit, and I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know that I love this pick. I'll be honest with you guys right now. I'm not going to say that every single one of these picks was a home run for me, but I do really like my first 4. I like my project guy, Willie Lampkin out of the University of North Carolina. He wasn't invited to the combine. I like his tape though. All right. But here's what I don't like is for an offensive lineman, a guard, he's 5'10", 270 pounds. He's going to be the smallest offensive lineman on the field, most likely, but he knows how to use his leverage. All right. So he knows that he's a small guy, but he knows I have to out leverage someone. I have to get underneath their pads. He does that really well. I got to do a little bit more homework on him, but my initial reaction is this is low risk, maybe medium reward. I don't love this pick. He was just kind of there. I'm going to be honest. Could have went a couple different ways, but I went with a guy that I had at least studied up a little bit on, but I don't love it. So I'll let you guys hammer my ass if you want to, because got a little iffy on that one. So I don't love that pick, but my final pick of the draft. And honestly, if I would have switched these two, I think both of them would have been there, and I probably would like the Willie Lampkin project a little bit more, but my final pick, Robert Longbeam, pick 246 out of the University of Rutgers, was invited to the combine. When you run a sub 4.4, a 4.39 officially, I got to put you on my radar. I can't ignore that type of speed. 5'11", 175 pounds, and his prospect grade 5.82, average backup or special teamer. At pick 246, if I'm getting an average backup, I think that's a steal. All right. I can't ignore 4.39 speed in the last pick of the draft for the Detroit Lions. Robert Longbeam, again, if we're losing Carlton Davis and we got to have Amik Robertson and Terrion Arnold as our outside corners, I think he's physical enough to play some nickel. I think he's fast enough to cover some wide receivers, some of the middle to lower tier wide receivers in the NFL. I think he'd do fine in that area. And I also love what he does in the run game. This dude will come up and hit you. He will come up and tackle. And I think that's what you have. When you're looking at corners, it's not my expertise. That's where I really wish Will was here, because he would tell me, I think he's the corner safety guy. I think that he's got an eye for that better than I do. But I can see that he comes up and supports the run. Robert Longbeam is going to come up and hit you. All right. He's not going to come up and give you a little sissy two-hand touch tackle. He's going to try to put you on your ass. So at pick 246, if we're getting a potential, and I'm not saying I'm locking him into that nickel role just yet, but if he's the guy, I can get him on a field. I can run a 4-2-5 defense and get Robert Longbeam on the field. The only guy in this draft I don't see getting on the field at all would be my Willie Lampkin pick. Again, don't love that. But when I'm talking Robert Longbeam, I can at least get him in some pads and into some football games. So there's my picks, guys. There's my mock draft, my first one. We might do another one once free agency settles down a little bit, but I wanted to get one out before then. So I got Mike Green, TJ Sanders, Jordan Birch, Pat Bryant, Olufemi Oladejo, Willie Lampkin, Robert Longbeam. I really love most of those picks. Let me know what you think. Give me a grade. Tell me what you would do in certain situations. If you want to trade up for someone, that's fine. Stick around, hit that like button. I'll be back later with another show. I'll be with Will tonight. We'll see how he's rested up. That's a long drive down there to Atlanta, so might let my guy take the day off. We'll see. I don't want to overwork him. Hit that subscribe button, guys. Thanks for watching.